Gun Sports Radio is sponsored by Love Radio Network. Welcome to Gun Sports Radio, all about shooting, hunting, self-defense, and more. Now, here are the hosts of Gun Sports Radio, Dave Stahl and Lance Pelkey.
All right, folks, welcome to FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer. I'm Dave, and Lance is eating barbecue, and Michael is making it for him. They're out someplace in the woods shooting and eating. So I got my good buddy Joe Drammissi in the house. How you doing, Joe?
Oh, I'm doing great. Great to be here today.
We're going to have fun. By the way, this segment is brought to you by Gun Range San Diego, your Nordstroms of gun ranges. And if you don't believe it, all you have to do is take a trip over there. And it is definitely just like Nordstrom's. It's just not the high price. Go to Gun Range, thegunrangesandiego.com, thegunrangesandiego.com. And you can get all the great deals and benefits. They're right there at 7853 Balboa Avenue in San Diego, 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Do not hesitate. All right. Joe is one of the founding board members of San Diego County Gun Owners, and he does a lot of topics, and you can find that on San Diego County Gun Owners.com, San Diego County Gun Owners.com. And you had a pretty interesting topic last week.
Yeah, what I wanted to talk about a little bit, something that went on, and it happened actually in L.A. About 2 weeks ago with their city council. And what they did, they passed a resolution unanimously, 10-0, to require contractors doing business with the city to disclose any relationship they have with the NRA.
Really?
And yeah, and I thought, I saw that, and it got some news coverage, and I thought, that's, it's not that it's illegal apparently, but I mean, it's just not right. No. So I wrote a story about that, and you could see the article on our on the San Diego County Gun Owners blog page. It was up there. We posted it last week, and so I kind of shared it around Facebook. Got a lot of debate on it, and it's interesting in that they can do that because. If you watch, there's a link on the article. There was a guy on the Tucker Carlson show, a guy who's a radio host, I guess, up in L.A., a guy named Ethan, I think was his name, Ethan Behrman, and sounds like a liberal radio host up there. And, he was defending that on Tucker Carlson's show, and he was saying, well, they're just asking for disclosure. They're not really going to do anything with it. So in other words, you're not going to be punished if you're a contractor. They just want to know.
But why? Why do they want to know?
And well, his argument was transparency. And again, that's kind of a ludicrous argument. I mean, there's no reason to know something like that unless you're going to use it against these people.
That's like asking what religion you are.
Well, it is, and that was the point I made in the article, and I use that as an example. I mean, what's next? Is it like, are you associated with the Catholic Church or Jewish organizations or something like that? Which is a little bit. I mean, they're kind of protected. But, I could have just as easily said Planned Parenthood or, the ACLU, which is the point Carlson made. And, it's really none of their business unless, if there was a possibility of a conflict of interest or something like that. Like, for instance, if I had a company and I built cell phones, I might want to ask a contractor that's going to work for me if they have any relationship with Qualcomm or something.
Yeah.
But, for that, I mean, it's just the idea is really to, again, limit free speech, and it's just for freedom of association, I guess. And it's interesting because the councilman that pushed that or came up with that, I found another article back in March where he did the same kind of thing, and it was a resolution for the LA City Council requesting them or requiring them to boycott contractors that have any formal association with the NRA. So, it's the same kind of thing, and he was doing it before. And, aside from it being wrong on a bunch of different levels, and I'd like to, when John calls in, I'd like to get John's opinion on that. Cause
he's actually on the line right now.
Because there were a couple of people that were debating that, and I know at least one or two of them were attorneys, and, is it legal, is it not legal, that kind of stuff. But we should be concerned, I think, down here in San Diego because we're just down the road from them.
Sure.
And the city council in San Diego is not really that far to the right of the city council in Los Angeles. So I mean, that's something that could happen here. And one of the things with that is, sometimes when people think about contractors, you're thinking about this big company or that big company.
Could be a one-man contractor.
I know. I have lots of friends, men and women, that are contractors that either work on their own or they have 2 or 3 people working for them. And these are the people that get hurt with these kinds of, goofy things that cities do. And, like Michael Schwartz always says, lawsuits and things like that are okay tools, but the real answer is to elect the right people, to get people that just don't do this kind of stuff in office. And, I kind of made that point in the article a little bit, and I wish it was as easy as saying something like, well, you just vote Republican, you don't have to worry about it. But that's not true anymore. And, I would point to was it a week or 2 ago, Michael probably talked about it last time he was on, the Board of Supervisors in San Diego County voted to restrict shooting on public lands.
Right.
And again, that's 5 Republicans, and the vote was 3-2 up there. So it's, I wish it was as cut and dried as you just vote one way or the other, but it's not. You really do need to take the time to learn about these people, and that's why it's so important, I think, that people get out there and really get out there and vote.
Let's bring John in just for a second and get his opinion. John, how you doing today? This is John Dillon, folks. He is from Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance LLP. He's your main source for any type of legal actions that you need to get yourself involved in. So what do you think there, John?
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I mean, simply put, this is just another example of the extremism that comes out of the LA City Council. This is a group of representatives who have kind of, unanimously declared that they're going to, take the mantle against, gun violence by enacting all sorts of absurd laws, regardless of whether it's constitutional. And, we have like a high-capacity magazine ban within LA City. There's more regulations with regard to purchasing firearms within the city of LA. This is just the next step. And as Joe was talking about earlier, the fact their argument that this is all about transparency and we're not actually going to do anything, well, they've already put forth a motion before actually trying to boycott. So based off of NRA connections or affiliations. So their intent. They want you to disclose this, and then they want to essentially create a blacklist. They want to put people out of business because of their association, and arguably there are First Amendment speech and freedom of association implications here, and on a broader level, Joe's right. It's like, okay, well, if you do it based off of this, well, now with the very progressive LA, if you belong to a church or somewhere else, or a community group that has certain beliefs that lean more conservative, like, can they start prohibiting you guys from holding meetings within the city? I don't know. It's a power grab. It is a virtue signaling law, and it's purely meant to go after the little guys in every sense of the word. Like you guys are saying, they're not going to get all these big old organizations, kind of the stick it to the man type thing. They're going to cut out people who have the mom and pop, middle class, contractors. And it's, frankly disgusting. And, honestly, though, I wouldn't expect anything else from that city council.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess, John, one of the dangers, like I was saying, is, we're not that far away from L.A., and I would hate to see that kind of thing go on down here. I mean, we've had not that quite that kind of thing, but, I mean, you remember several months ago the city council in San Diego, the resolution about resisting the national reciprocity type thing, and, and that really has nothing to do with them, but it's that same kind of mentality, and I think that's why, like Michael always says, it's so important to get involved and get the right people elected.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's that example. You have the BLM shooting example. You have the Del Mar Fairground gun show examples. I mean,
it's crazy.
They're doing everything they can, and it's these are state agencies. We had the lieutenant governor, candidate for governor. literally write a letter directing, the ag board to vote against the gun show.
Sure.
So we have, legitimate concern, even down in San Diego. It's similar to, other arguments where people are like, well, I'm just going to move out of California because the laws here are crazy and I'll go somewhere else. Well, the laws that have been born in California have spread to other states, and running away and going to a different city or going to a different state is not going to help anything. It's only going to delay it, and then eventually one day, because you chose to do nothing, you'll find those exact same laws on your doorstep.
Exactly. Hey, let's take a quick break. When we come back, more with John Dillon. Folks, don't forget Trident Gunsmithing, 858-577-0576. Go to TridentGunsmithing.com for all of your gun needs. If you want to upgrade them, get them legal, modify them, fix them, old, new, doesn't make any difference. Trident Gunsmithing, plus they're your number one stop for hunting, whether it be big game, little game. They handle it all with classes, equipment. They've got it all for you. TridentGunsmithing.com. Stay tuned. John Dillon's on the line right here on FM 96.1 AM 1170. The Answer. All right, folks. Hey, welcome back. You are listening to Gun Sports Radio right here on FM 96.1 AM 1170. The Answer. I got Joe Drammissi on the line as well. And, hey, are you frustrated by the new California laws for ARs? Looking for a cost-effective and easy solution that will allow you to keep your AR featureless, yet still compliant? Well, Cali Key is where you need to be. Check out Cali Key. Go to CaliKey.com. That's KALIKEY.com. 2 minutes, you can put your whole entire collection right up to, compliancy. So don't let everybody come around and take your guns away. Get that thing straightened out with CaliKey.com. All right. Hey, we got John Dillon on the line. John Dillon, it's CAFirearmsLaw.com, CAFirearmsLaw.com. Send him an email, and he will be more than happy to answer it via email. He may even have to give you a call, and if he has to drive to meet you in an undisclosed area because you're scared to death that you don't want to do it on the phone, which John just had a client the other day, and we won't go into it, but he had to drive a long distance to go see this guy, and hopefully John was able to help him out. So going back to this, I can't help it. I came up with this comment, and I haven't had a chance to use it on anybody yet, but I'm still a firm believer that all these people that want to take your guns away, what happens when you go to them and say, fine, take our guns away, but how are you going to get the guns out of the criminals? I have yet to hear a solution on that. Have you, John?
Well, quite honestly, in the history of the United States, anything that the government has tried to ban or prohibit, I can't think of a single thing that they've actually been successful at banning and actually prohibiting people from obtaining. In reality, as soon as, and we see this with firearms, we see this with drugs, we see this with everything, as soon as there is even a discussion that hints towards a prohibition or ban of, frankly, anything, people will go out, buy them, acquire them, save them and store them up. We are a country with the history and a society with a history of immediately wanting stuff as soon as people want to take it away from us. So, yeah, I honestly, the reality of it, we have over 400 million guns in this country. They're never going to be truly successful. But if that were the case, people, a large majority of people would then have to, make the decision of, am I going to be a felon or am I going to comply, which is always the true issue and the true struggle when you talk about bans and prohibitions and stuff like that is overnight you're turning people into felons based off of a law. We had that happen with the assault weapon law in California. The original one back in 2000 and this most recent one, which ended June 30th, 2018. Literally, 1 second at 11:59 on June 30th, you are an upstanding citizen with a family and good job, and you didn't hear about a registration process because the state spent literally $0 to inform the public of this registration system. And you found out the next day that now you are a felon who has an illegal possession of an assault weapon that you bought, 10 years ago. And that's the danger right there.
Right.
And, the good thing is I do have a little bit of good news on that front, and I do stress it is a little bit of news. It is anecdotal in the sense that it is through my work and my experiences with clients and the DOJ agents that I've had to deal with since June 30th, which every day that increases the number of people that are calling me because of assault weapon technicalities and issues. But I've had a number of people who have contacted my office, clients that we've been able to settle these cases with. But essentially, because of all the technical rules and regulations in registering ARs, a lot of people did it wrong. And there's been a lot of stuff on the news of DOJ agents coming to people's doors with pictures of certain firearms that they tried to register and confiscating those firearms, arresting people for possession of those firearms because, you tried to submit a bullet button AR that you purchased in 2018 as an assault weapon when you didn't know that you had to own it before 2017 in order to do so. So one thing that I've always made very clear to all of my clients, to anyone I speak with, and again, I got to say, the disclaimer is this is not legal advice. There's no attorney-client relationship here. But
Good.
When in doubt, if you have a firearm that you think could be classified as an assault weapon, the best thing to do is, and frankly, we're mostly talking about AR-15 style firearms. The best thing to do, even if you have every intention of never taking it out of a safe again, is to disassemble it. At the very least, separate the upper and lower from each other. There's a lot of rules in the regulations when it comes to the registration of assault weapons. We are still waiting on the DOJ to get their enforcement regulations approved for assault weapons. So there's all sorts of problems with that. But I've had a number of clients who have inadvertently, unintentionally, submitted a firearm in the wrong format, not in compliance, and they've had DOJ contact them. And the number one thing that has helped that situation is once law enforcement or DOJ sets eyes on that firearm, the firearm is not fully assembled and does not fully function, or it does not have all the features of an assault weapon. So if, when in doubt, always best to disassemble your firearm, disassemble that AR-15 style firearm until you are sure that, if you registered it and you have a pending status. Yeah,
leave it apart.
To separate it, and just wait till you get that confirmation. And even if you get the confirmation, consider storing it, transporting it, doing all of the above, separate it. It gives you an extra level of protection if, for any odd reason, you have law enforcement, DOJ officials inspecting your firearm or wanting to take a look at your firearm. It gives you that just little extra layer of protection.
Let me ask you a question, John, and let's see if this is a loaded question. Excuse the pun. So they come to your house and, they want to see your firearms. What is your legal right to pull out your cell phone and turn on the video device and videotape this whole conversation, photographing the gun that it is apart, laying on the or is there any, will they get after you for that? Is that illegal? Or can you protect yourself? Because you know as well as I do, if you turn around and say, well, it was all apart, all they have to say is, no, it wasn't. And it's you against them. Yeah.
So again, and part of the reason why it was really good. I've had clients that they were in the situations like that, but they called a lawyer right away, and we made sure that the setting that the first time the DOJ saw the firearms, they saw them disassembled, and we made sure of that. We made sure there's multiple people, and it was documented, and the necessary forms, photographs, and paperwork were completed in order to have that paper trail and make sure that this is how it's done.
Do they come to you unannounced, or do they give you fair warning that they're coming?
The DOJ?
Yeah.
From my experience, it's a knock on the door.
Okay, so if they knock on the door, you can say, before I let you in, I need to contact my lawyer.
Yeah, you do not have to open your door unless there is a search warrant. You don't have to. And your question with filming, you have every right to film law enforcement.
That's right.
And inform them that I am video and audio recording. And that is to say, you may get some pushback by doing something like that.
Oh, sure.
There's all sorts of cases you can see online where, you have law enforcement that have a problem with being filmed. And, yeah, it can complicate things. It can, escalate the tension of the situation. Mm-hmm. But if you feel that you sincerely need to, or feel you should do something like that, you have every right to do so. If they have a search warrant and they're,
well, the environment.
Other than that, I would never open the door. I would never consent to any search whatsoever. I would never even answer a single question unless I was
represented.
Unless I had to. But you have a Fifth Amendment right.
Sure.
Never to incriminate yourself. You have a Fifth Amendment right to a lawyer. So you can remain silent. You truly can. Just not say a word. Yeah. And rarely does it help to try to explain the situation to law enforcement. You've got to remember, even if the officers or agents are sympathetic to your situation, they do not prosecute.
No.
Their entire job is to make arrests, fill out the report.
That's it.
It then goes to a prosecutor, and he makes the decision. So it does not matter if you have a good rapport with that officer. They have, honestly, no power to sway the DA, or the city attorney, or whoever's prosecuting the case. It's their decision. So the fact that the officer is nice or he's being cordial, they're trained to do so. They're trained to lie to get more information out. It's just better never to talk to him. And I say that having really good friends that are law enforcement. Sure. I tell them all the time, I'm surprised I'm still friends with you. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. It's to mess around because they know it too. And truly honest law enforcement will tell you, don't ever talk if it's an official contact.
Right, exactly.
You'll never help yourself.
No. All right, buddy. Hey, thank you very much for enlightening us, even though it wasn't as good news as I was hoping for. But at least you gave us some good, because intimidation is one of the tools that these guys use, and you just need to be strong and show, unless they show a warrant to come to your home and search your home, you don't have to say a word. All you have to say is, I'm contacting my lawyer. Go get a subpoena.
There you go.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks a lot, folks. You need to check out that man right there, John Dillon. Go to cafirearmslaw.com, cafirearmslaw.com. John will help you out, keep you out of trouble. Thanks, buddy. All right. Hey, coming up next, we got Casey from Gun Range San Diego. You'll definitely want to hang out and check these guys out. Nordstrom's and Gun Ranges, 7853 Balboa Avenue, 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Go to thegunrangesandiego.com for more information. Stay tuned.
FM 96.1, AM 1170. The Answer.
All right, folks. Hey, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio. I'm Dave. He is Joe. This is FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer. And this segment is brought to you by Gun Range San Diego at 7853 Balboa Avenue in San Diego, 10 to 10, 7 days a week. They are the Nordstroms of gun ranges. They've got all kinds of specials going on, and they've got the Grand Day, December 7th. Make sure you Mark your calendar. We got Casey on the line. Hey, Casey, how you doing, bud?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
You busy over there at Gun Range San Diego?
Yeah, it's getting pretty busy today.
Yeah,
We've got almost all of our lanes filled up, so
yeah, well,
we're keeping busy.
All the motorsports is over with. Some of the, what do they call that, football games are going on? I don't know. We don't. Since the San Diego Chargers are gone, we could care less. So what do you got for us today?
So we got the grand old day coming up, December 7th. It's going to be on a Friday. It's going to start around 5 p.m., go till we close. It's pretty much going to be all weapons from World War II, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and basically just going to be showcasing. I'm going to have a couple display tables out. Certain people are going to bring in guns. I'm bringing my own 1903 Springfield in. We're going to have a couple M1 Garands, some M39 finishes. And basically just going to be checking them all out. And then a couple of those guns are going to be on our rental range where people can come up and rent them and shoot them.
And
so it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, and do you encourage correct uniforms?
Well, it's kind of hard to get things like that nowadays. But hey, if somebody shows up, we'll take pictures with them. It'll be cool.
Dude, I couldn't get my dress. Not for love nor money, nor a pair of fatigues, or a fatigues.
I know. Mine are hanging up in my closet, and I look at them, and
I do too.
I might have let myself go just a tad, but
I shine my brass every once in a while. Yeah. Just because I hated doing it when I was in the military, so I figure it's a good thing to do it now.
Yep.
And that and spit shine shoes, you're going to love this. When I was in the Army, it was back in the 60s, and one of the guys I was in the Army with, his dad started Amway. And I don't know if you're familiar with Amway. You know, it's all kind of cleaning products and stuff. Well, he sent us this aerosol can, dude, that you shook it up, sprayed it on your dress shoes. There's not a spitball on the planet that was as shiny as these shoes. We won all the awards till about 3 weeks in, the shoes start cracking. It literally cracked it ruined the shoes. So
I would always use Lysol for my core frames because it would keep them nice and shiny, but the instant you get a scuff on it, you're just like, well, there goes my whole day.
Oh, Lysol. I never thought of that one. I wish I would have known about but this Amway product.
Really shiny.
Yeah, this Amway product was awesome until it cracked all these shoes. The whole squad we got in so much trouble. You would not believe it.
Yeah, the Navy, I see the Navy, they still kind of shine it's interesting. It went from shining their whole boots to just the tip of their boots. And it's very interesting to see when they're walking around. They got these shiny little toes, and it's mildly entertaining.
Yeah, mildly entertaining. So, and that's a good point because a lot of the folks that work at Gun Range San Diego are ex-military or retired military.
Yep. We have a couple Marines, a couple Navy guys here, so we have a good demographic.
Yeah. And the thing that's neat about it, and what I like about Gun Range San Diego is you love bringing in new shooters, because there are some shops out there that are not real keen on it. In other words, if you don't know which end to shoot, we don't want you anywhere near our range, where you guys will take folks in and you actually kind of look forward to chatting with people that never shot before.
It's true. We get a lot of foreign nationals in here, and we love teaching them how to shoot, and that's why we have our RSOs in the range, and that's what we're there for. We're not just going to rent a gun out to somebody, just throw them in there and say good luck. It's just not how we are. We want people to have a fun, safe environment, and that's why we're there. We put them through the paces, show them how to load correctly, how to sight in correctly, and just let them have a good time.
Right. Hey, Casey, this is Joe, and having the RSO on the range is really a good touch, I think, for that, too.
RSO stands for?
Range Safety Officer.
Right.
There you go. So that's a good touch for having new shooters there, because I know a lot of ranges don't do that, and that's one of the things that's a little bit frightening, I guess, to some of us if you go to a range when you see people that
don't know what the heck they're doing. They're waving the gun every which way.
Yeah. So it's very nice. You probably saw there was a little video clip floating around the internet a little while ago with the guy doing the selfie with the handgun. And RSO was right on him, and that was great. But I think you see that kind of stuff out there.
Well, he was taking a selfie, but he's pointing the gun at his friend's head to take the selfie.
Oh my gosh!
And it's just you have to be safe and have a fun environment here. But some people just don't pay attention to things like that, and that's what we're there for, to make sure that everybody's in there safe and can enjoy things. And we're not there to be on anybody's cases over and over and over. We just let them know, hey, keep the muzzle down range, have a good time, don't go waving around. If you have something go wrong, let us know. We are here to help you.
Exactly. I mean, it's Yeah, no, I mean, I can't. That little story just gave me cold chills just thinking about it. But
and things do happen, but you just have to be cautious, and that's why we have 2 or 3 guys in there watching the entire time, and it's just to prevent things like that.
Yeah, and most people are. Well, again, most people are pretty safe and reasonable with that, but I mean, a lot of new people sometimes they get excited. And it's like, oh look, I just hit that, and they
especially
swing
when
all the way around with the gun,
or the first time it fires. Their recoil could be dangerous as they go, hey, did you see that? And they're spinning around. Well, I've got a great one for you, Casey. You're going to love this story. So my dad, before I moved to San Diego back in the late 70s, he gave me a revolver, 38. He was a police officer at the time. And he says, here you go, yada, yada, yada. And I said, okay. I took it with me. And I'd never really shot it. And then I had a chance to shoot it at the police range down there in, Lemon Grove or Route 94. So anyway, so I go out there, and I'm with a couple of my police officer buddies, and I says, all right, let's see how this thing fires. And the guy on the right and the guy on the left drop to the ground. I guess the unit where you put your bullets in, the chamber, was so wore out that it shot the wadding out either side of the gun and smacked both of them with wadding. Needless to say, that was the last time I've been to that range, and I sold a gun. But those are the kinds of things that happen. I mean, I would not in a million years would I have known that was going to happen. Thank goodness it was just wadding and it wasn't anything to hurt anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when it comes to gun ranges, weird things happen that you wouldn't think happen, but that's why you have to be cautious.
Right.
Eye pro on, ear pro on. Right. I mean, even when I'm shooting outdoor ranges, I always keep eye protection on just in case,
Sure.
And a lot of people think they're too good for that. And it's like, your eyes you kind of need, So safety is always our first precaution here.
It's like riding a Harley,
Exactly.
You got to wear the gear. If you're not wearing the gear, I seen a guy today on shorts, flip-flops, a tank top, and a beanie helmet screaming down a freeway about 80 miles an hour. Are you freaking kidding me?
It goes back to just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
That's a fact. I mean, granted, I don't like you telling me I have to wear a helmet. That's my choice.
Right.
Okay, I'll wear it, but don't be yelling at me if I decide not to wear it, which I would never do.
I will do this under my own free will, protest, but I'll do it.
That's exactly right. Hey, talking about some of the training that goes on at Gun Range San Diego, how does somebody, if they've never been to the range, they just are dying to shoot, they won't go by themselves, so they bring a neighbor, a friend, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or what have you. What would be your recommendation? Should they call? Should they make an appointment? Can they show up? What would be your recommendation?
Well, they can do any of those. I mean, most of our range, it's all first come, first serve. You can do appointments ahead of time, and then you can also do rent an RSO. So if you aren't fully confident in your skills, you can rent one of those RSOs to stand there and help you the entire time. Mm-hmm. Now, that's up to you if you want. But the rest of us RSOs in there, we have new shooters that come in. They come up to us, say, hey, I've never shot a gun before. Cool, I'm here to help you.
Good.
Take them up to the booth. We show them the ins and outs, how to operate the firearm, how to aim safely and correctly. And that's what we go through there. So as I said earlier, we're not just throwing them in there and saying good luck. Mm-hmm. It's just not how we are. We want everybody to have a good time. So we spend time there and help people. And it's not just new shooters. We'll go up and down the line and we'll see some people that are more experienced, but they're still say they're shooting low. We'll tell them, hey, you kind of jerking the trigger there. I'm watching it from back here. Try doing a slow, steady squeeze, and we're there to help everybody. So we bring all their shots up, and we're not, a lot of our RSOs in there are very experienced. Pretty much with almost every firearm we get in there, we know how to use it. So we have some people that, bring a new rifle in, it jams up, and we'll help them out, get some grease for them, stuff like that. So pretty much any issue that happens in there, we take care of it.
Excellent. Well, that's so important because, the confidence is what you need. You got to have good confidence, when you go to a range like that. Otherwise, you're not going to have any fun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the first thing that I talk to with new shooters, I always ask them, are you afraid of a gun? And some people say yes, and I ask them, well, why? It's a piece of metal. It's not going to do anything until you tell it to. And it kind of gives them that little mentality that you are in control of this thing.
Right.
So it kind of helps alleviate there's no accidents on ranges. It's only negligence. So if your gun doesn't accidentally go off, it's because you had your finger on the trigger and you pulled it. So That's what we're there for, is to kind of instill those things. We have make sure everybody reads our rules and regulations before they even go in the range.
Now, what if they don't have any equipment? What if they don't have ear protection? They don't have eye protection. They don't even own a firearm, and they just come to you, but they want to learn. Can you provide all that with them for them?
We can. We have eye protection, ear protection, targets, multiple guns on the rental range. We pretty much have everything they'll need.
Okay. Do they get to keep the target once it's fired into?
Absolutely. Yeah. We try to make sure that they, we try to help them have a good group so they can take it home, put it up on their wall. I like to joke around with, we'll have couples come in and they'll take the hostage target out there. And I always tell them, I was like, all right, if you shoot the hostage, you're buying dinner.
There you go.
Get a good chuck out of it. But I always check them after they come out. We're very personal. We're not just to sit there and be sticklers. We're having a good time in the range. We're always smiling. And we just want people to have a lighter mood of being in a gun range. Because it can be scary, especially indoors. It can be a little loud. But we just want them to be comfortable.
Right. And as long as you're wearing the protection, the loudness is not a big issue. It really isn't.
Right. Yeah, you get used to it. I mean, every once in a while somebody bring a bigger gun there, and it kind of they'll take that first shot, and everybody looks at the range and like, oh my God, what was that? I'm like, well, that was a 50 caliber Desert Eagle, and everybody wants to take pictures and stuff. But
that's just Casey. That's just Casey down there with his big toy. I know how that goes.
Don't mind me down here.
You got it. All right, buddy. Hey, thank you very much for taking time out, and tell Jason he lost his job. I think you did a phenomenal job, my man.
Thank you.
All right, folks. The Gun Range San Diego, thegunrangesandiego.com. You do need to get down there, check that joint out, and look up Casey. He'd love to chat with you. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm leaving, and Joe Drammissi is going to take care of the rest of the show because he is on the hook right here on FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer. Folks, hey, welcome. This is Gun Sports Radio right here on FM 96.1 in North County, AM 1170 in San Diego. We are The Answer. You can catch us on the free KCBQ app. You can listen to iHeartRadio. You can get on the computer. Whatever you need to do, you can do it. And, you got to, really enjoy a show like this. We work really hard to give you the right stories. We got Joe Drammissi in the house. And before we go, hey, do you or any of your family members keep a taser, pepper spray, firearms, or any other weapon for personal protection? Well, that's great. So do you have, or are you going to get a CCW? Well, that's good. But what would you do if you got involved in an incident? What would happen if you got pulled over and maybe you were taking one of your firearms to the gunsmith and it wasn't or put in a position to where it could be transported legally, and you end up in jail? Well, who's going to take care of your bail and a lawyer fee? Well, check this out. For $10 a month, that's right, no strings attached, $10 a month, you can have peace of mind by knowing a 24-hour hotline and legal representation is waiting for you and your family. That's right. It's not $10 per person. It's $10 for the whole family. That's Firearms Legal Protection. Go to www.firearmslegal.com, firearmslegal.com, or you can call them at 844-357-9400, 844-357-9400. Tell them you heard it right here on Gun Sports Radio. So, Joe, it says here in big bold letters, Joe has another gun topic.
Joe always has another gun topic, but yeah, we'll talk about Joe's last weekend because Joe did some cool stuff last weekend. So I worked at actually what I got to do was I met Judy Wells last weekend. So
and who is Judy Wells for people that may not know?
I'll have to get to that here.
Yeah.
So the story with that is I worked a Women on Target event. And this is something it's sponsored by the NRA, and the Lemon Grove Rod and Gun Club they do 4 of these a year, and they do them out at their range up in Alpine. And what they are, they're aimed at women because it's a strictly women event, and they aim at women that are either first time shooters or have very minimal experience with firearms. And what they do is they limit it to 40 women, and they have they come up there and they do an hour-long, probably safety briefing, and they talk about firearms and different things. And then they split them up into 3 groups, and there's a group that goes to the pistol area, a group that goes to the rifle area, and a group that goes to the shotgun area. And they pair each woman up with a mentor, and they spend about an hour in each area shooting handguns, and then they rotate and they shoot rifles, they rotate and they shoot shotguns. And it's really not. I've done 3 of them now, I think.
So you're one
far.
of the instructors?
Yeah. And I've done 3 of them. I think the next one is in January on the 13th. And Eric and Sue Johnson put these things together with a whole bunch of volunteers. They really do a great job.
Right.
But as I was working there, I met Judy Wells for the first time. Judy is the head of a group in San Diego, the San Diego chapter of A Girl and a Gun. And this is a women's group that promotes firearms and, good, safe firearm practice with women. And it's very interesting because, I said, oh, okay, that's something like the well-armed woman. And she was saying, no, it's a little bit different. And they seem to be a lot more focused on just having fun and having an enjoyable, fun time there with different things, with firearms related stuff. They do different shooting events and different educational events and things like that. And
so just have fun.
They do, yeah, and it's and I know like Wendy and some other people I know from the Well Armed Women. That's another great organization too. Mm-hmm. But it is, if you look at their websites, they are a little bit different, and you do notice a difference there. And I want to try to get see if we can get Judy to call in here in another week or two and just talk about her group. But the Women on Target thing was a lot of fun, and that was a great thing. And that was last Sunday. Saturday, talk about my T-shirt. Saturday, participated in the Waves charity shooting match, and this is the 3rd annual one of those that they did. And this is put on by the Linea de Fuego Club, USPSA Club, and they shoot up at Paula at the range up there, the North County Shootist Association range near the casino. And what the Waves organization is, they work with disabled veterans that have been badly injured, that are missing limbs and things like that. And this came about during it was originally a university study where they were introducing disabled veterans into scuba diving, and as a way to help the veterans cope with the disabling and injuries and things that they had. And during the course of the study, they found that the psychological impact or effect of the scuba diving, getting out in the water and being kind of weightless and doing that kind of stuff, had a pretty long-lasting effect, helping the veterans cope with their injuries and things. And the study eventually ended. They ran out of money, so a couple of people put together their own project, their charity, and that's the Waves Project. So Linea de Fuego got together with them, and they've done this shooting match now. For this was the 3rd annual one they did this last weekend. And if you remember, Saturday was a little bit rainy, and it was actually pretty entertaining there because it rained probably the first half of the match, and there was probably about 120 people there. The match actually sold out in 24 hours this year, and some of the stages were just there was easily 6 inches of mud in stage 1. There was a guy that had a shoe sucked off of his foot in the middle of his stage when he was shooting. So it was a lot of fun, but it raised a lot of money, and that was a good thing. I saw they usually have they do the national anthem there, and they'll usually have a singer, which they had this time. They had the Marine Corps mounted color guard, which I hadn't seen before. So
really?
you got 4 Marines on horseback with the flags.
Interesting.
And it started off with that, but it was a great event. It was a lot of fun, even with the rain, and the rain cleared up after about the first 4 stages. So, but it was a lot of fun. So that was kind of last week's event.
So have they found with scuba diving? They got real positive results. Are they finding the same thing with this shooting experience since they've been doing it 3 years?
Yeah, they have, because the shooting experience wasn't so much with the veterans or the disabled veterans.
Okay.
It was a regular match to raise money
for
the Waves group, and
okay.
I think we raised probably about $15,000 this year. I haven't seen the number this year, but it was similar to that last year.
Wow.
And it's very similar to the typical USPSA matches that we do up at Pala every other weekend. There was a few more stages. I think there was 8 stages, and they added rain and mud this time.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit different. But everybody had a lot of fun. It was good. They do a big barbecue. Lots of the local gun shops and people in the industry donate gifts and things, so they have big raffles. And that's
how they raise the money.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
what's it cost to be part of it?
I believe it cost $80, and $80 gets you a nice T-shirt like the one I've got on.
Yeah, you look very nice in red.
Yeah, it's flashy this year. It changes colors every year. I think they started out with black. It was green last year. This year
now you're red.
But yeah, $80 gets you that. I think it gets you a raffle ticket. and the chance to
food.
shoot. And food.
That's
right,
the most important part. Even if you are trying to lose weight.
That's
probably
right.
good barbecue, too, huh?
Just like Michael and Lance.
Just like Michael and Lance.
So, yeah, that was...
so, do you know the website, or do you just turn around and I can read it?
No, I could probably turn around and you could read it. If
just
you
go to
type
Waves.
in the Waves Project on Google, it'll know what you're looking for.
Right.
And
I highly recommend, folks, that you do this, that you get involved in these groups, because you never know. Is there an age limit?
No, there isn't. There are
Take your kids.
There are kids there that shot, all the way up to people that were well older, beyond me anyway, and
definitely beyond me, right?
And they definitely shoot really well. So now there are people easily in their 70s there, all the way down to young kids,
right?
And men and women. It's a great experience. And there's shooters. There's shooters that I know that shoot at the Grandmaster, master level. They're there all the way down to people that
having fun,
just beginning. So,
right.
It's great. It's a great event.
I think that's awesome. And we can't end the show without talking about San Diego County gun owners, which is a near and dear to your heart. You're one of the founding board members.
Not a founding board member, but really close.
Well, it says here, founding board member.
Yeah, Lance goofed it.
Lance doesn't lie. But so
I feel like a founding member.
So tell folks a little bit about. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but from your perspective,
with the San Diego County Gun Owners, what I like about that organization, and we're up to almost 1,300 people now, and just under 3 years old, I think. And what's nice about San Diego County Gun Owners is we work on just exclusively in San Diego County. Mm-hmm. So we work at trying to get pro Second Amendment people elected to office throughout the county. There's, I believe, 18 city councils in San Diego County. So we work trying to get council members elected, mayors, supervisors. And actually now, if you look at if you go to the website, SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com, you'll see a voter endorsement list. So we have, or not a voter endorsement list, a candidate endorsement list, I guess is what it is. But we endorse candidates on school boards,
heavily vetted too, I might add.
Different things. We do. We start out with a questionnaire, and then Michael Schwartz, our executive director, pretty much talks to each one of those candidates, and then based on what Michael learns, what the questionnaire says, we go to our board, and our board discusses each one, and we make a decision. We're going to endorse or we're not going to endorse.
Wow, that's just absolutely awesome. Well, hey, man, that's been a fun hour. I always enjoy having you here.
Hey, it's always fun being here.
Nobody brought us any barbecue, so we know how that rolls. Hey, but we do want to thank all our show sponsors. Number one, SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com. Number one, our founding advertiser, the GunRangeSanDiego.com, the GunRangeSanDiego.com, John Dillon with CAFirearmsLaw.com, FirearmsLegal.com to keep you protected, and TridentGunsmithing.com to keep your guns in good condition, and Cali Key, which keeps you legal, KALIKEY.com. Thank you very much, folks. Make sure you stop by next week for another show, and make sure you tell everybody out there that you heard it right here on FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer.
Gun Sports Radio is sponsored by Love Radio Network.